Hello everyone, this is Mary Ann, and I'm back with another video for the fourth week of One Book July 2016. I am on version 2, and I have four other videos up on my channel, and I will link them all down below. And just to give you an idea, um, the I started joining the One Book July on July 1. That was a Friday. But on my planner, I always start on a Monday. I am a weekly planner. I'm a daily planner, but my week always starts on Monday and ends on Sunday. So the weeks in my planner are different from the weeks of the One Book July challenge because the One Book July challenge started on the 1st of July, which is a Friday, and right now it's the 29th of July, which is a Friday, and that is a picture of my son when he was 2. That is my favorite picture of him. He kind of looks like that ball that he's carrying. So I just put that in my planner because it's very nice to look at. And my One Book July 2016 challenge is a journaling challenge, and I've shown this part to you guys before. This is the same journal section that I use in my daily planner. And what you're going to see in this video is just me handwriting an entry on my journal, the part of it that you can see, by the way, because most of it is private. But this part I can share with you guys because what I'm going to be writing down on that paper is going to be the same thing that I will be talking to you about in the audio of this material. So at the end of the update for week 3, I mentioned there that for week 3, I have aimed to journal about 2 different major things in my life that have been bothering me for a while, but I just needed to journal about them to get them out of the way or to make things clearer in my mind on how to deal with them, or if it's not possible for me to deal with them, how to put myself in a particular frame of mind in which the worry does not debilitate me. So that was the goal for week 3. And week 3 ended with me able to journal only about one of those 2 major things. So now we're on week 4. And I was able to journal about that one last thing. And I was also able to journal about one other major thing that is not a worry, not a problem, but it's about something that is very, very important to me. And I used to write about it a lot when I used to have time to journal a lot, but I haven't been able to journal about it for a while. How that thing in my life made me feel, and how I was dealing with my certain thoughts that come to my mind when I think about that thing. I was able to journal about that too. It was not a problem. It was not an issue or a worry. It was just something that is very important in my life. And I was able to journal about it for week 4 of One Book July. I did not go to any special place to journal for all of the 4th week. Um, but I was able to get all of these important journaling done. I was just so busy to actually go places. So most of my journal entries for this week were written either at home or in the office during lunch break. I would, hide in a quiet corner by the piano and which nobody was using and just journal there during lunch break or after hours. After everybody had gone home and it's quiet here in the office, I could, I could journal. So that's what I did for week 4. I didn't go anywhere. I just stayed in my usual places. Usually, at the end of every week of my One Book July challenge, I ask myself, what have I learned about myself for this week after I have journaled every single day of One Book July? And I always emerge with something new. It was different for week 1, 2, and 3. And now we're on week 4. I have learned something about myself in the sense that um, I exaggerate issues in my mind. This is closely related to what I said in my week one update about being a worrier. I talked there about 17 minutes about worrying and how I journal to manage worry. Um, and make them go away. But what I have also learned about myself in connection with that on week four is that when I start writing down my worries, sometimes I find that I was worrying over nothing. Sounds a little bit silly, and I'm sure a lot of you guys out there would be able to relate with me on this, although I'm not sure. Maybe I'm the only one who's crazy, but I was actually the one creating monsters inside myself some of the time. Some of the worries are real, actual big worries, and journaling about them does not make these worries smaller or less significant, but only clearer in my mind so that I can deal with them in the proper way. So that's good. However, some worries, on the other hand, really just seem like big issues at first, but when I write them down in my journal, they become smaller and smaller until they become so trivial and sometimes even quite funny. Turns out I was only imagining problems and inventing problems that I didn't really need. So that's one thing I realized about myself that on this week four of One Book July, I sort of knew this to have some truth even before this very moment, but now I have final confirmation. And so this week four made me realize that there is actually a third kind of worry. And I have discussed the first two kinds of worry in my week one update. Um, I discussed the first two kinds of worries there. But now in week four, I'm realizing that in my life, there is a third kind of worry, one that is imaginary and unnecessary. Um, as opposed to the other two, which are actually real and necessary, and which I can turn into something good no matter what kind of worry it is. There is always an opportunity to turn it into something that can strengthen me or make me create something. So, this third kind of worry is imaginary and unnecessary. And journaling helped because when I start journaling about that imaginary worry, I operate from the belief that it is real, not imaginary. So I start journaling thinking that the worry is real. And as I go along talking to myself in that journal entry, I eventually and gradually realize that the worry is imaginary and unnecessary. And so I just stop worrying. It's actually really that simple. I kind of, when that conclusion struck me, I was kind of startled. It was really that simple, but I never really thought about it that way if I hadn't been journaling with a certain kind of deliberation for One Book July, because this challenge made me more mindful of my journaling and why I am journaling and what I have learned from my journaling. Because of the mindfulness that the challenge has given me, I was able to realize this. So that's one more thing, one more reason to be thankful for this challenge. And by the way, you are looking at me in the video writing down my journal entry for the day on a piece of paper that goes in my planner, but I take the paper out of the planner and put it on a flat surface by itself because my planner is very, very thick and fat. It's a personal sized or compact sized Franklin Covey, which is comparable to the Filofax personal size, and the rings are 1.5 inches in diameter or 40 millimeters in diameter. But so it's hard to write on it. But when I'm done, I take the paper back into the rings and then put them back into that section for the journal right there that you can see on the video. And then I just snap the rings closed. I also want to share with you the journaling time that I have had for week 4 on the Hyperdex. That is the dark green fields that you can see there. So on Monday, I journaled for an hour and a half, 8 o'clock to 9:30 at night. And on Tuesday, I journaled from 6:30 to 7:30 at night. And then on Wednesday, I journaled for half an hour at 11 o'clock at night. On Thursday, it was two 30-minute intervals on the evening of Thursday, and on Friday, I journaled in the morning at 11 to 11:30, and that is today. And also, week 4 is when I ran out of the uh, usual Tomoe River paper from Raymay Davinci that I used to be using. I used to be on the DR276. I'm just going to show you here a close review of the name of the product. It's DR276. It's the 5 millimeter ruled from Raymay Davinci. It's the Bible-sized cream 5 millimeter rule. So you can see there that it's really exactly 5 millimeters. And but I have a stash of the DR337L. It's also Raymay Davinci, but it has a different product code because it's the 6.5 millimeter ruled. It's bigger than the 5 millimeters, and I actually like the smaller rule better because I have very small handwriting. And at first, I didn't like it when I was shifting, no, not shifting, I was making the drastic change from the 5 millimeter to the 6.5 millimeter, but I had no other choice. There was no other way to get the 5 millimeter rule fast enough. So I was forced to keep up with the 6.5 millimeter paper. But as I went along, it felt more comfortable, although it's a little bit more waste of paper because I can get more writing in the 5 millimeter rule than the 6.5. But really, that's okay. It's not a problem. And I actually still have more of the 6.5 millimeter rule than the 5 millimeter rule, because the 6.5 is much cheaper than the 5 millimeter ones. And I bought the 6.5 from a seller on Amazon. And I bought the 5 millimeter ones from Kawaii Tokyo on Etsy. So, really, that is my update for week 4 of One Book July. I am going to be back at the end of July, maybe at the first or second day of August, to present you a wrap up and a full summary of everything that went down during One Book July. So, I'm going to be back for that video. I'm really so excited to make that full summary for you. Until then, thank you so much for watching. Until next time, bye.